Are you being able
Good
to hear me?
evening. Yes,
Yes. So, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too. So, let's just
We
wait for
can
a few more
finally.
people. Yeah.
Yes, let's wait for a few more people to join. So I'm very glad, like we are entering this, month of August by having this conversation and taking one more step towards, spreading awareness about mental health.
And I feel seeing the need of the hour and how things are going, I think it's very important to address these issues, which people have not been really like frank and open about.
Hmm.
So, I really feel like this could be a great way to start the month.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think July has the month of July had its own share of ups and downs, but I'm sure when we take this step towards, or when we start walking this journey of more acceptance towards issues that are pulling us back, we're going to be able to also deal with it in a healthy mindset.
Very true. So, till the time people are joining, let's just introduce ourselves. So, I'm Asta Goyal and I'm an organizational psychologist and I'm also pursuing law. So, I know it's like not a very related combination, but I'm really loving to be a part of this. And let's get to know you, Vishwa.
So I have done my master's in psychology with a specialization in clinical, and I have been working as a mental health professional since the last 3 to 3.5 years, um, and hoping to study more. It's never enough.
That's very true. Like, there's one thing about this field is you have to constantly keep reading, keep yourself updated. Like, the learning never stops.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Huh. Okay,
Can you hear me?
you're absolutely right on that front.
Is there a network problem?
Yeah.
Okay,
So great.
so
Yeah, yeah. Continue. Sorry.
no, no, say it's okay.
No, no, no.
So we were just having this campaign where we had a way to probably let like the people ask a question. So it's known
Hmm.
as Ask the Psychologist. So we were sort of like encouraging people to ask the questions. So I have actually received a few questions myself. So I just thought that we can start with probably like addressing those questions, and we
Sure.
can also like invite some of those like on our chat means like as of now. And first, like we
Hmm.
can talk about those questions, and then after that we can probably take some questions which our audience would want us to address as well.
Sure.
So we can ask our audience also, like till the time we are talking about those things, if they have something in mind, they can probably ask us on chat.
Yeah. Great.
All right. So I have the questions with me. The first question goes, how does one stay mentally stable and healthy during this COVID pandemic? I think this has been the most common question which has come across in this entire
Yeah,
period.
I mean there's so much information about it, not just on in social media platforms, but I think everywhere you go, people are talking about this. Like, how are you coping with the panic, and how what's the right way of actually coping with this entire situation. Again, I think each one of us has a different journey um, with the pandemic. While some people are coping in a really healthy way, some are really struggling because people are not used to I would say being in that environment that we are in right now,
That's
right?
true.
Because we had never thought that because of this entire pandemic we would have to actually stay in one place for 4.5 months almost, to now bringing it to 5 months, right?
Right.
Again, when you talk about staying mentally fit in these times, My idea of mentally fit and your idea of mentally fit are going to completely differ, right? But when
Of
it comes down to
course.
basic work of emotion, it's very important that we are taking time out to reflect, to journal in any way that we would prefer. So some people prefer having art journals. Some people prefer having written journals. Um, some people also prefer listening to songs and writing down the lyrics that they really feel they can connect with,
Connect with, right?
right? So it's more of finding those channels of emotion release during such times, to even make sure that where at times because of these emotions, it's a lot of negative thoughts. We are more irritable, aggressive, um, either verbally, physically, or even emotionally abusive to people. Forget people, but also ourselves,
Right.
right? But if we are slowing down, if we are taking some time to slow down and understand more about where these feelings and emotions are stemming from through these different mediums, it will definitely be helpful in regulating our emotions in a healthy way.
And also to add to this, like I also feel that what people can do is that what's happening is that because of the entire work from home scenario and because you
Hmm.
don't have your house helps, or some people are having a very tough time to stay like in a shut house and with their family members. So what's happening is that they are actually just following one sort of a means like a schedule, like it's the means like in the morning I wake up at this time, this is what I do. After this I have to do this, then I have to do that. So I just feel if they
Right.
break that cycle, probably they do something different, it could probably help them to cope with this scenario more often. Like for
And
me, I have
hmm.
actually found a new hobby of myself that I like singing and I like to work out and things like that, which I wouldn't think of if like all of this wouldn't have happened in the first place. So I just feel that a little bit of being off your schedule and doing something which you like and keeping a change in the schedule will keep you going.
Right. And also, taking one day at a time rather than planning your entire week, let's slow it down to preparing or planning one day at a time. Adding movement, as you rightly said, at times music is a very good channel to release emotions. Just playing some music and swaying with it. Um, Grabbing a book. At the
Right.
same time, creating a routine that's more flexible rather than stringent. uh, so these are just like reminders that we need to give ourselves, that we don't need to have it all figured out today. We can slow down and take our time to work this process.
Right. Okay, so moving to the next question, how should we
Hmm.
be mentally strong?
Oh, so you tell me, are you mentally strong?
Okay, now how am I supposed to find that out? So basically, what I feel is when you're talking about mentally strong, you're talking about, first of all, that strength which you feel that, okay, I am feeling strong and I think I am fit to do something or I'm fit not to do something. I feel that comes with,
Hmm.
first of all, being like aware about the things in your surroundings and being like aware about yourself. So if you have the correct knowledge about how you're feeling, how you're thinking, how you're behaving, how the people around you are behaving, what is happening, you
Hmm.
know the reasons of why the people are behaving in the way they are. Somehow being like aware about these things will make you feel stronger because you know how the person is feeling or thinking or how you are feeling and thinking. So that's the basic thing, that you keep yourself absolutely like aware about the things which are happening around you. So that awareness is very like important firstly to be strong, I
Hmm.
feel, mentally.
Right. And mental strength also comes a lot from these other domains of our life. um, our internal resources as well as external resources, right, that help us cope with any given scenario. And I think all of us do have at least one internal resource that we can fall back on. For some people, it could be, resilience. For some people, it could be optimism. For some people, it could also be, just using their potentials.
Right.
Um, to navigate that tough time, or that journey. By external resources, I mean having family, friends, um, extracurriculars that you can fall back to, to help you cope with that sort of an emotion. So I think to be mentally strong, I think it's a journey, and we are never going to be 100% there, or right down to zero on the graph. But we are always fluctuating. I think between the ups and the downs, which are of course a part of the journey.
Of
So
course.
using these resources, and as you said, awareness, using awareness to actually cope with this would actually help.
Okay, so moving to the next question. We go through a lot of stress and tension, but at what point we need a psychologist consultant? So basically, what they're trying to say is that we keep on facing those like lows and our means like the downs and all of that. But when do you know that you've reached a point where you need a psychologist?
Let's think of these emotions and thought as a bucket, and we have started the tap, and the bucket is filling with water. Okay, I know that it's filling with water, it's rising, in the quantity, but I still choose to not shut the tap, and I let it spill it over. Right? That's when we realize that, okay, the tap right now. See, things are going to be flooded around me. It's going to be like, water sort of an accumulation, and going to be difficult to even release it. Of course, all the water is not going to go out at the same time. Right? Similarly, when you recognize
Right.
that, okay, this particular concern is affecting, say, my social life, my personal life, my professional life, or any of the other domains of your life, that's a red flag that your mind and body is giving you that, hey, now reach out for help. Like if
And
you
I
delay it
also,
more, it may like spill over everywhere. Sorry to cut you. Yeah.
no, that's okay. So it's like actually a very good example to put it forward. Like the same means like the tap example which you gave. So sometimes what happens is that you feel that your way to cope with the problem is the correct way to cope through it. But then the minute you start with that ways to cope with the problem, you see things are falling further apart. And you might reach to a stage where you are just thinking that I'm doing so much for this thing and I'm doing so much to mend these things. But still, everything's just falling apart, and I don't find any way that I can actually do something about it. I feel that is like a moment where you know that you should go and consult a psychologist to probably clear your
Yeah.
thoughts to get a direction of what to
And
do, how to
I
do it.
also think, as you said, right, it's a different perspective from a person who doesn't know you at all. So a lot more, a safe environment, an environment where you can be you and know for a fact that I'm not going to be judged.
Correct.
Um, so I think those are, I think, the aspects of reaching out for professional help, because there's only so much that you can do at a given time.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So, how to mend things when jealousy comes into the picture?
Interesting much. Right. Um, how many times have you been jealous or found yourself being?
Uh, Probably as a child, I would say it was quite
Mm-hmm.
frequent, So I feel it begins from childhood
Hello.
when you see someone else having something better than what you don't have. And, like in
Right.
school, we used to get those fancy means like pencil
Hmm.
erasers and like a compass box and things like that. So I feel that is when
Hmm.
it actually starts from like you like at that moment the thing which you're feeling, that feeling of somebody having
Yeah.
something more than what you don't have, it's actually hitting on your self-esteem. And
Yeah.
the thing is that at that moment you don't know what is this feeling.
Huh.
So I feel it's very like important to be like very much like aware about the fact that okay, I am feeling jealous about this. You need to have that self acceptance that okay, I am feeling jealous about this.
Yeah. And
So
you know, so jealousy has different components, right? It's not just like, because it's one word means we are working on jealousy, but we are working on a whole lot of other concerns such as insecurity, inferiority,
correct.
self-esteem concerns, confidence issues. At the same time, our own anxiety, right? That entire
Right.
fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of just left hanging, which we wouldn't want to be a part of, right? So when we break jealousy into these different components, and through therapeutic process, we aim at working on each of these components in a very systematized manner rather than working on jealousy as a whole, because
Right.
it may sound like a concern or an emotion that you're experiencing in that moment, but it it may not be so.
So basically, it is more like important for you to know the root of why you're feeling jealous. What is that? Means like the component,
Mm-hmm.
as you said, that which one is the reason why you are feeling jealous is what you need to find out.
Right, right.
So basically, jealousy cannot be cured as such, but it's okay. 1 second, I'll just add her back.
I don't know what happened.
It's okay. So I was saying that jealousy cannot be cured as such. It's more about the person who's feeling jealous needs to be more like aware about the feeling and needs to have a
Hmm.
self acceptance as to why and how they are feeling jealous and what can they do like about it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes.
Okay, so now we have an interesting question. Me and my sibling have sibling rivalry. She doesn't leave a chance to put me down. What can I do to improve it?
Okay. Again, right, this is not about the sister doing this, but it's more about how you are feeling about it, what are your thoughts about it, and how are you navigating through it. As humans, our egos are very fragile,
Very
So
true.
if anyone points like one finger at it, we're just going to be like, hey, you have no rights to do so, and we're going to lash back at the person. But instead, actually slowing down, sitting with the person, communicating how you're feeling about it, rather than assuming that it is that the person is trying to put you down. I think there's a big difference between assuming something and then taking or considering something as a fact.
Right.
So I think for sibling rivalry also it's stemming somewhere from that envy and jealousy component, where you're not confident about you, where you're not, I would say when not where you are not in touch with you.
Right.
Possibly that's where it could be stemming from that one person may feel that the opposite person is trying to put them down.
And I also believe that I feel the parents play a major role when it comes to their
Hmm.
means like the children feeling the sibling rivalry. Majorly, I
Yeah.
feel it could be based on the parents' behavior. Maybe
Right.
they are pampering one child a bit more than the other, or probably they give more like means like an attention to maybe like any means like from those two to like any one child, so that would obviously stem in the jealousy and the rivalry of the child who is
Hmm.
being like ignored for that matter. So I feel,
Possibly.
yeah, so I feel that parents, if they see that their children are having a sort of a rivalry, so then they need to sort
Hmm.
of strike a balance in like the ways they are
Correct.
treating or grooming their children. So I feel
Absolutely.
parents play a major role when it comes to these things.
And I think through therapy, we also aim at, working on these attachment styles with parents that are established at such a young age.
Right.
Where you get that emotional map of working with things and dealing with things. So, yeah, I really, align and do agree with the fact that parents definitely play a major role.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we have the next question of how to bridge in the communication gap and distrust with my parents.
As millennials, I usually think that because of the entire generation gap, either we are not able to understand them or they are not able to understand us, right? And in the middle of all this, especially when you don't have parents who are accepting to even hear you out, communication definitely does get difficult.
Right.
In such cases, it's very important to examine that what are some factors that are in your control. You know, am I going to be able to control this? Am I, if even if I communicate this to my parent, are they going to understand what I'm trying to say? If not, is there any other way of, other source that I can reach out to for that same kind of support? um, so also understanding your support system as far as bridging the gap is concerned, if verbally talking is not possible, you can drop them a message, you can write them a letter, uh, because I feel you're able to be more you when you're doing all of
Yeah.
this, right? Rather than having to confront the parent and then feel anxious or nervous about the same.
Correct.
Hmm.
Okay, so these were the questions which we had received, and we can ask our audience if they have something which we would want to like if they would want to ask us, and we can probably bring that
Hmm.
up. I think we had one
Yeah.
question when we were discussing this. How do we stay
Hmm.
calm with so much uncertainty around us?
Right. So, as I said earlier, taking one day at a time, not rushing through things, allowing yourself to pause, allowing yourself to reflect, also reaching out to, your safe spots. Like it could be
Very
people, it could
important.
be places, it could be, just spending that time doing a hobby that you like. Of course, therapy is one of it.
Yeah.
Um, and at the same time, allowing yourself to just be rather than, um, you know, putting those shoulds and musts and, odds. Like there's nothing that you have to do. You take a call if you are in the headspace or mind space to do something, and amidst all of this uncertainty, let's cling on to something that is certain, right? Out of 10 things, there'll be one thing that's certain that we can find and shift our perspective towards, and you know use that as a tool to actually help us grow.
That's actually a very good way to cope with that uncertainty.
Absolutely.
Do we have any more questions?
So Asta, I was actually going through the My Tutorials website, and it really comes across as something interesting. And there's so many things happening at a time. So if you could just quickly walk, me through
So
about what it is.
basically, our site it has basically services for school children, where we are also going to provide certain tutorials on different subjects.
Hmm.
Along with that, we have RCI licensed clinical psychologists. So we have a team of them who will be providing services for counseling,
Hmm.
and we've actually kept it like at a very reasonable rate as well for now, so that a lot of people can probably reach out to us in case they have a problem. So it's going to start from 1,000, and
Okay.
I would means like in fact like urge all you people to come and check our site and to probably like enroll for some of these services, because it will really help like each and every person to cope with the things that they are going through right now.
Absolutely. So thanks for actually having this live session and taking a step towards destigmatizing mental health. And I think no matter how much we do, it's never going to be enough. Um, right. So I think this is just the start. And to everyone who is joining now and has missed out on the interesting questions that did come up, you can definitely go ahead and check the video out.
Thank you for being a part of this session, and thank you for your views. Like it was a really nice session, and I personally really loved it because like we had a lot of means like a diverse set of things also which came in, which I
Yeah.
hope helps the people who have been asking the questions. I hope they saw the live as well. So yeah, it was a great session.
Great.
All
Great.
right,
See you. Thanks,
see
guys.
you.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.